Hello everyone. So today we'll be starting with a LeetCode challenge to count the number of pairs with absolute difference k. So basically we are given a problem that an integer array and an integer k, and we have to find the number of pairs ij where I less than j, such that you have this condition that the absolute value of nums I minus nums j is equal to k, and you obviously know what is the meaning of the absolute value of x. So let us see this example. So you have the array of 1 2 2 and 1, and your k is 1. So we are having output 4. So how it is coming? So it is coming like the first element is 1, and obviously you don't have to do anything with this. And if you go to the second element, you see the difference between 1 and 2 is obviously 1, which is your k. So we'll count this 1 and 2 as a pair. Again, if you see, if you take the first element and the second element, also if you do the difference, you will find it as 1. And obviously you have the 2 and 1, and this 2 and 1 also. So like this there are 4 such pairs, so your output should be 4. And obviously if you look in the other examples also, the same thing is given. So we have to look in this condition that absolute value of nums I minus nums j should be equal to k. Okay, so the thing is that the first thing that needs to come in your mind is the brute force approach. So what you can do is that you can have two nested loops. The outer loop will iterate through all the elements, and the next loop can compare the previous element with the rest of the elements, like you do in a selection sort. So in this way you can compare every element to every element and see that whether its absolute difference is 1 or not. But we will not be doing that, since it will take a time complexity of O of n square. So we need to have a better approach. So the better approach what we can think of is by using a map, and then we can do some things. So if you look in this relation closely, so which is this one, nums I minus nums j. Okay, so that is should be equal to your k. So you can have two equations from this, since it is an absolute value. So you can have nums I minus nums j equal to k. Okay, so this is your one relation you're getting, and another relation which you can think of is the opposite of that, the negative of this one, which is nums j minus nums I, that should be equal to k. So these two things can be possible, or we can write these two equation in slightly different form. That is, if we move the k to the left side and the nums j to the other side, so it will be like nums I minus k equal to nums j. Okay, and your other equation will be if you move nums uh, I to the other side, you'll have this one, nums I plus k should be equal to nums j. Now consider a map where you are storing every element and its frequency. So so this nums I is an element which is already present in the map, and this k is your given. So you can find out whether your current array element uh, should uh, should form a pair or not by checking this condition, whether your current element of the array is equal to uh, whatever is stored in the map, and if you find the difference with k. So obviously if nums I minus k is present in your map, that means this element nums j, that should form a pair with num I, and this should be included in the pair. Okay, so in this way we are doing, and at the end we will just put this element in the map only. So let us see the code. So first I am using this hash map, so for every element it will count its frequency. So first of all, when I'm getting to an array element, I'm checking whether nums I minus k is present in the map or not. So if you can see in the left side of the equation, so this is the first equation I'm using. So if nums I minus k is present, that means nums j should form a pair with nums I. So in this case we are incrementing count by how much, by how many frequency that element is occurring, because if you say if you have 5 twos and you are getting a 3, and obviously the k is 1, so it should form, the 3 should form the pair with all the twos. So whatever the frequency of nums I minus k is, so that many number of times which should increment the count. So that is the logic. And for the next also we are doing nums I plus k, which is this one, the next one. So if this is present, that means nums I is forming a pair with nums j. So in this case also we are just adding the frequency, and this line is a fancy line in Java where it is actually, if the element is present, then we are just updating it by 1, and if it is not present, then we are just adding 1 to 0. Okay, so if you're not coding in Java, then you don't need to worry. You should write your map according to the logic of building frequency for every element. So I hope you have understood. If you didn't understand or you still have any problem, please free please be free to comment in the comment section. Okay, so let us run the code and submit the code. Okay, as you can see, it has got accepted.